Welcome to the first in a two-part lecture on sentence errors. A sentence is a complete thought that conveys information and comprises a subject and a verb. A sentence can be a statement, an affirmation, an exclamation, a command, or a question. There are several types of errors that can occur in writing. These include subject-verb disagreement, subject-pronoun reference disagreement, pronoun shifting, comma splice, run-on sentences, and sentence fragments. In sentence writing, the subject and verb must agree in number. If a subject is singular, the corresponding verb must also be singular. If the subject is plural, the corresponding verb must also be plural. When this rule is followed, subject-verb agreement occurs. When this rule is ignored, subject-verb disagreement occurs. Let's look at the two following sentences. Can you tell which one is correct? Let's read them carefully. Neither John nor Mary are receiving the award. Neither John nor Mary is receiving the award. In order to determine which sentence is correct, we must look at the divided subject rule. This rule states that when the subjects of a sentence are divided by either or, neither nor, not but, not only but, and the word or, the verb must agree with the second or last subject. Therefore, the correct version of the sentence is, neither John nor Mary is receiving the award. Let's look at two more versions of another sentence. Not only the doctor, but also the nurses has been summoned before the board. Not only the doctor, but also the nurses have been summoned before the board. Using the divided subject rule, the verb must agree with the second or last subject. Therefore, the correct version is as follows. Not only the doctor, but also the nurses have been summoned before the board. Let's look at another sentence that has two versions. The teacher, as well as her students, is looking forward to the trip. The teacher, as well as her students, are looking forward to the trip. Which of these sentences is correct? In order to determine the correct sentence, we must carefully review the joined subjects rule. This rule states that when the subjects of a sentence are joined by words or phrases such as along with, together with, plus, in connection with, in company with, including, as well as, accompanied by, and in addition to, the verb must agree with the first subject. Therefore, the correct version of this sentence is as follows. The teacher, as well as her students, is looking forward to the trip. Let's look at two more versions of another sentence. The groom, together with his groomsmen, is stranded at the airport. The groom, together with his groomsmen, are stranded at the airport. Which of these sentences is correct? Following the joined subjects rules, the verb must agree with the first subject. In this case, the correct version of this sentence is, the groom, together with his groomsmen, is stranded at the airport. Other irregularities in English can create problems in writing. Column A lists words that have a plural form but take a singular verb. Column B lists words that have a plural form refer to one object and take a plural verb. Let's recap. A sentence is made up of a subject and a verb. A singular subject needs a singular verb. A plural subject needs a plural verb. In sentences with divided subjects, the verb must agree with the second or last subject. In sentences with joined subjects, the verb must agree with the first subject. Now on to pronoun shifting. Pronoun shifting occurs when an author begins a sentence using one form of a pronoun but changes to another. Let's look at the following example. Nursing students should intentionally improve their writing skills because you are likely to write at least one report in your career. Do you notice the shift from there to you and your? Now let's look at the corrected version of this sentence. Nursing students should intentionally improve their writing skills because they are likely to write at least one report in their career. Using pronouns that are indefinite can also create problems in writing. For example, each, anybody, nobody, anyone, someone, one, somebody, everybody, every, and everyone are singular pronouns. When used as the subject of a sentence, they must take a singular pronoun reference. Let's look at sentence examples, both incorrect and correct. Everyone passed their NCLEX RN exam. This is incorrect. Everyone passed his NCLEX RN exam. This is correct. Someone left their books in the lab. This is incorrect. Someone left her books in the lab. This is correct. Here are a few tips for editing your sentences. First, read your sentences aloud. This will allow you to hear errors you might have overlooked. When you read a paragraph, go to the last sentence and read that sentence first. Then go to the second to last and read all the way till you get to the first sentence of the paragraph. Doing this will isolate any errors you might have overlooked previously. And finally, have someone else read your sentences. For further information on subject and verb agreement, comma splice, pronoun consistency, run-on sentences, and sentence fragments, please visit grammar.ccc.comnet.edu.